Jeez, look like we are live. What up, though, people? Hey, this one wasn't a good night for the Detroit Pistons in the new year. They go down 118 to 112 to the Miami Heat. Trying to get our guy Chris Platte in here so we can do this post-game stream. But, chat, as you guys are getting in here, put in the chat what you guys thought went wrong tonight. They did fight back. They were down by more than 20 points tonight. They fought back. And honestly, it was Marcus Sasser putting together another good game. I think he needs to continue to have his role expanded. And I love the minutes that he played with Cade Cunningham. For me personally, when you look at Marcus Sasser, bucket, get or all, get out. I don't need him trying to probe. I don't need him trying to facilitate. I just need him out there getting buckets. And every time you see the Pistons pair him with a facilitator, like last year when they brought in Dennis Schroeder, I love the minutes with Dennis Schroeder and Marcus Sasser. This year, they got Marcus Sasser back. Second game in a row that he's gotten extended minutes. Second game in a row that he's went out there and done work. Second game in a row, they paired him up a lot of minutes with the ball handler, and he did his thing tonight. But it would be better if we were talking about this in a dub, man. And tonight, I thought the Pistons did a lot of things to cost themselves. So, like I said, I need you guys to put in the chat what you thought was the biggest thing to cost the Pistons tonight, and what you think they need to do to clean this thing up. Because they got some big matchups on the way here. Obviously, they got the Cavaliers on Sunday away, but then they come right back home on Monday where they play the New York Knicks. And you already know, New York Knicks fans is talking greasy. You already know the Detroit Pistons want to make sure that they can put on, because they don't got too many wins against the New York Knicks on their home floor, playoffs or regular season. You go back to last year where the Pistons fared well overall against the New York Knicks, but they did their best damage at Madison Square Garden. So this is going to be a nice little stretch for the Pistons, man. I was talking to the legend Terry Foster, who covered the Pistons during the Bad Boys era, covered the Pistons during the Going to Work era, and he stated this, that, you know what, this team, he likes them. He believes in them. Cute team. But he said in terms of number one seed expectation, he's waiting until later in February, about that all-star break to be able to decide, this is a squad that you could say should be representing the Detroit, the Eastern Conference in the NBA championship. And if not, it's a disappointment. I'm almost willing to put them there already, man. You look at what they've already done to secure the number one seed. You're looking at the defense being number two in all of the NBA. You're looking at this team going out there and defending well and everything. Hey, we got the legend right here, man, Rick Moore. Hey, come on, man. Come on, Rick. Come on. Hey, Rick. Hey, say what up. Say what up, dog.
No, I ain't saying what up,
Rick. Shout out to the legend, Rick Moore, man, of the Bad Boys, as we talking about him that much as well, too. Shout out to the legend, man. Always gives us his time. Always breaks it down with us. Always gives us advice as well. So, man, bad boy on and off the court. And you know what? Somebody wants to see a lot of people do well here in Detroit. But back to this game, man. This is one in which I think that a lot of things that they need to get cleaned up, because they were asked about that defense being number two. Shout out to Vinny Goodwill of ESPN now. And he asked Isaiah Stewart, like, look, yeah, y'all been number two in defense all year. But what about the fact that over the last week, it hasn't looked that hot? And Isaiah Stewart, he didn't hesitate. He effectively jumped right into it and said, look, our defense has to improve. We've been slacking. We've been slipping off. So that's at least reassuring to hear from the defensive captain, from the guy who's probably the muscle on this team as well, from the guy who's going out there and holding people accountable as it relates to hustle, from the guy who's going out there and setting the tone for his team, not just defensively, but from a physicality standpoint. You want to know that guy understands that there is something more to be done. But let's get into this game. Let's get into this box score per usual. Because the Pistons, this was a close one, man, to the Miami Heat. 118 to 112. I thought that they were going to have a good shot to pull this one out. But some miscues down the stretch really did them in. And honestly, Isaiah Stewart said in the press conference, too, their energy to start the game just got to be better. If they're going to come out, especially on their home floor, and drag their feet a little bit, while they're being circled on everybody else's calendar, this is going to happen to them a whole lot, more times than not. So that's something I want to see them get definitely right. But let me see here, man. I'm going to try and pull up the chat over here before it pulls up in my system. There we go. I see some people here in the online system. I see you guys in the chat now. Ryan Span said, man, this was a turnover show, and JB not playing Ivy minutes is killing us, man. I'm about to read some of the chat here before it gets here on the system. When it does, I'll be able to pull up some of these chats on the screen, too. But Steve says, Asar needs to apply to be a bricklayer. Come on, y'all. Sean, turnovers and no second scoring option. Neighborhood homies, what happened with JD tonight? Jalen Duren had a little bit of an ankle injury, was limping off the court back to the huddle. And he told JB he just didn't feel right. So JB said, we're not going to push it. If you don't feel right, we're not going to push it. We did see him from the press conference room. He was walking past us, and he had a little bit of a limp, but he was walking underneath his own power. So I'm hoping that's more a good sign than not with Jalen Durham, who has had a history with ankle injuries. That's not something that you want to see happen with the big fella who is having an all-star season and approaching towards earning. It's already, people are saying, look, bro, give him that contract. Give him that contract. Because that's the type of season he's been having. So you don't want to see him get hurt in a year like this, man. Not like that. Even if it's just minor. You want to see these see them be able to go out there and be able to have all that's supposed to be there. So once again, JB Bickerstaff said that they're still awaiting more. Obviously, they're gonna run some tests and everything like that just to make sure that everything is good, or to see if there's any type of treatment that needs to be had. So so let's see if there's any other questions here before we get into this box score. Sharon says Norman Powell didn't have to guard anybody except Marcus Sasser, where he picked up his first foul in the fourth quarter. No one guards Asar. 2 turnovers. Then he said 3. They got out hustled and locked and looked to the step slow tonight. You know what? The energy just wasn't there. That was something I remarked about too. It's like you sit there and you wait for it, and you wait for it, and wait for it. And the reason why it's more glaring this year is because in the past, they put in Ron Holland and say, okay, cool, that's the Energizer Bunny. He's going to get the team, up to a different gear. This year, I've been impressed with the fact that Ron Holland comes in and the team still looks the same. Not that he's not lifting this team up, but that the team is already playing at a different gear this year. So when Ron Holland comes in, the team is not letting him down and not letting him just be the only one to go out there and put forth that energy. Tonight was a game where I just didn't see the energy from really anybody. And I get it. You look at that fourth quarter where they made the comeback, and it's like, this has to be the precipice when you start those games. When you look at how well Marcus Sasser and Cade Cunningham played together, scoring the ball and everything, this is where I think you do start to think about getting that second scoring option in here and seeing just how important it is to have something like that. But, man, we go through some more of these, man. And once again, man, happy holidays. Happy New Year to you guys, too. Let's see what else is in here, man. And as well, put in the chat, man, what y'all did for New Year's Eve, man, to bring in the New Year. If there's anything y'all did for holiday season, I thought it was dope to see the Detroit Pistons go out to L.A., clean up their act a little bit after dropping a couple games, end the road trip 4-2, and you take out LeBron James on his birthday. That was almost as sweet as when the Lions took out Jerry Jones on his birthday last year. So it's dope. Let me see. Steve Astic, should the Pistons trade Jaden Ivey? I ain't even gonna do that, man. But I get the joke, dog. Kevin says most nights, if Jaden Ivey doesn't see the floor, the chances of winning improves. It's crazy. I'm seeing this type of Jaden Ivey love, and I'm gonna tell. I mean, this type of Jaden Ivey discourse. I know he's still working his way back from one injury, multiple surgeries, because he had the arthroscopic surgery on the knee. But when you look at this team tonight, the Miami Heat got 99 field goal attempts to the Detroit Pistons 80. That ain't got nothing to do with Jaden Ivey. I can tell you that. And realistically, I'm going to start looking in more and more at Asar Thompson to see exactly what that effect is on the game, too. But when you look at this thing, the Pistons shot 48% from the field, 43% for the Miami Heat, but 99 field goal attempts, 39 three-point attempts for the Miami Heat. They shot 36% from beyond the arc on that. And then when you get beyond that, man, this is where I start to get a little bit sad. The Pistons pride themselves on physicality. The Pistons pride themselves on touching the paint first. The Pistons pride themselves on making sure that the rebounds are theirs. But on a night like tonight, they lost that battle 49-40. And this is where it really hurts. They gave up 15 offensive rebounds. They only got 6 themselves. You can't shoot 38 of 80 and only pull down 6 of your own offensive rebounds and expect it to be a winning formula. All night, it seemed like the Miami Heat front court just continued to be the ones first to the ball. Continued to be the ones that get the hand up and tip it back out. And those 15 offensive rebounds, man, and the second chance points that they were able to get absolutely killed the Pistons, because a lot of times they were playing decent on some of those possessions. Man, when you look at the 15% of the possessions, man, the Detroit Pistons lined up and they played well. And then when you couple that with the total turnovers, they forced the Miami Heat into 20 turnovers. 20 turnovers. They got 18 points off that. The problem is this: the Miami Heat forced the Pistons into 21 turnovers, and they got 24 points off that. So you're talking about 15 second chance opportunities off the offensive rebounds, plus another 24 points. Like, this is the way that the Detroit Pistons usually get their wins, but they allowed the Miami Heat to come in here and kind of outgrit them, out physical them, out energy them. These aren't look, when you aren't the strongest 3-point shooting team, you have to make sure that you're going in there and you're doing everything in the paint and that you're doing what you got to do to keep that energy up. You can't have the other team going out there and getting second and third and fourth chances to tee off for you. Because a lot of the times against a team like the Miami Heat and what will happen in the playoffs when that happens, bro, backbreaker three after backbreaker three. Like, I'm just sitting here right now going back over even the New York series in the playoffs. When Cat hit that three, that was after the play had broken down. He wasn't even the one that the play was designed for. And so, like, stuff like that is where I get a little bit concerned, because I know when the stakes are up and when the pressure's up, because right now this is just a random game on January 1. Like I told you, T. Fall said he's not locking in and not getting too up or getting too down with these results until we get to February. Obviously, he's happy with where they are, believes that they're going to be a top 14. But in terms of the overall, he's waiting a little bit. Me personally, we told you guys game by game, we're going to make sure we give our reactions. But overall, this was one where the press conference was short, not a lot of questions. I think people want to see how this team responds, because they just went West Coast road trip 4-2. I remember years where going on that West Coast meant, all right, the Pistons season's done. Any momentum they have is now over. And they would have 2 West Coast trips and get crushed every single time. 4-2, they probably should have been maybe 5-1 on that West Coast road trip. But they come back tonight and they just drop an egg, come back to the cold. I expect them to go down to Cleveland and farewell. And I expect Monday night to be rocking here at LCA against the New York Knicks. If you're not going to be in the building for that game, you're missing out. You are missing out, man. So let's get to the rest of this box score, and then we're going to definitely sign out. Let me see what else the people are saying here in the chat. All day says Kool-Aid, Asar looks a mess. Hey, dang, boy, y'all are not letting this Asar stuff go. Rio says Asar looks awful offensively, and his defense is slipping because he's so handsy. You know what? Wings and Pistons teased us. You know, it was a double loss signed. Shout out to Wilbur Wings. I know Spinny and Justin are supposed to be doing their post game. I might be on right now too, so support them. We got the dual streams going on right here at Wilbur Sports Network. And again, man, I don't even think I introduced myself, but y'all see it down there. Brandon Dent, aka Detroit Kool-Aid, Wilbur Sports credentialed Pistons reporter and writer at the network. And you know what? They get things packed up over here at the court. It's how you say, I've been so rude to y'all, man. We here live in the arena. This is what I thought that they were going to be able to get. You know, early on, it looked like, okay, this is going to be a good game, good back and forth between two teams that are largely, considered good teams, franchises and such. Each of them have 3 championships to boast as well. But this is one in which Coach Spo, he deployed a really, really good game plan. Every single time the Pistons scored, they didn't waste any time getting the ball out the rim and getting right back down the court. Anytime they got the rebound from the Pistons, and they got a lot of them, I don't know what they were doing, but they were crashing everything. It seemed like after you got beyond Jalen Duran's height, nobody else mattered as it related to rebounds. And I'm telling you, as much as you're talking about Asar Thompson, as much as you guys have this discourse about Jaden Ivey, I've been saying this for a while. The Pistons need to add some type of rebounding size. Just somebody that can be in the game and just be a menace in the paint. Being able to tip the ball out, being able to make it a little bit more difficult for these squads to go in there and get these second chance points and everything. So that's the type of stuff that I'm hoping that they figure out, because tonight was another night. You look at some of their losses tonight, it's happened this way against teams that they're going to match up with in the playoffs. Coach Spo's coming in with a game plan to knock you off every single time. That's just how he is. The sick type of competitor he is. He don't care if it's a random regular season game or not. He's coming here to knock you off. And so, look, we are going to get to Asar. We are going to get to some of these players, but I just want to be able to give some of my quick thoughts on this thing and wrap with you guys a little bit as I'm seeing these questions come in to the chat. But all right, hey, look, let's get to this box score. Miami basically led this thing for the most part, man. 84% they led this lead. And they had the lead, the largest lead of the game, 22. The Pistons led by 5 early in the game. And points in the paint, they had 54 to Miami's 52, but usually we're used to seeing the Detroit Pistons go out there and get 60 against the Lakers. They had 70. They've hit 70 paint points, I believe, at least 3 or 4 times this year. So in this one, it seemed like the Heat did everything to try and neutralize the Detroit Pistons' strength. So they do fall to 25-9. Oh man, so sad, so bad. 25-9. What a record. Still first place in the East with a couple showdowns with some playoff bound teams in the Cleveland Cavaliers as well as the New York Knicks. I think this is going to be a stretch that's going to be more defining than their actual West Coast trip for them. I do. So, when you look at the Miami Heat, I think the only player to really talk about for the Miami Heat, even though, uh, Jamie did his thing, Tanahimi Yaquez did his thing, let me see, Bam Adebayo, Andrew Wiggins, whatever. This was about Norman Powell, man. That's it. Norman Powell went out there and did his thing. 12 of 23 from the floor, 7 of 14 from beyond the arc. Back-breaking three after back-breaking three. And to me, that was more or less kind of what did the Pistons in. Every single time there was like a missed shot by the Miami Heat, it seemed like the ball just got tipped right back out to Norman Powell, and then bam, splash. They're going back and they're playing defense. That's how they built up that lead early on because the Pistons were getting pummeled like 35% to 14% from behind the arc. And this is where when I hear people talking about, do you want to bring in like a Michael Porter Jr. type of a player? Sometimes I'm just like, but then it's like on nights like tonight is where you see it. Nights like tonight is where you see it. There's been several nights where the Pistons have been fortunate enough to win the game, but they shot 20% or less from beyond the arc. I don't know how successful and how healthy and how robust a game plan that actually is if you're talking about going into the playoffs and causing some trouble, making some noise. So that's something I need to see them get right, man. I need to see them get that right. But Asar Thompson, Norman Powell, let me go back to this, man. 36 points in 35 minutes from 12 of 23, 7 14 from the floor. And that's basically all he did. And a couple assists, a couple rebounds, Davion Mitchell over there got 8 points, 11 assists for them tonight. It's pretty solid, honestly. Just overall, just solid play. And he's somebody who, when he was in the draft coming out, I know that there was a lot of Pistons fans out there who were big on him. But let me get over here to the Pistons. Duncan Robinson, this is one in which against your old team, you would have liked to see him fare better. When you're talking about the Pistons struggling from behind the arc, you got to start with Duncan Robinson first. 9 points. And if you thought those 9 points were all on threes, no. He only hit one of 5 from behind the arc. And it's a thing where it's like, you bring these vets in. I was expecting to be as consistent as we got out of some of the vets last year. I thought Tim Hardaway, who was coming off of a finals appearance, was a perfect vet for the squad, man. You look at Malik Beasley, you understand like the career year that he had here. So it's like when you got Karis LeVert, you have Duncan Robinson, you gave him some decent little coin, especially Duncan Robinson. You expect them to be able to come in and be the most consistent players night in and night out. I'm not sitting here saying that Duncan Robinson got to be a 60% three-point shooter, but golly, man, the feast or famine is going to cost this team. People will tell me, well, he's shooting like 40% from beyond arc. Yeah, that's because he got games where he's shooting 60% and then games where he's shooting like 20%. Like when you get to the playoffs and he has 1 or 2 off games, especially as you progress, those are the things that are going to crush you. Think about the Detroit Pistons from last year. That three-point shooting in the playoffs was putrid. And it cost the Pistons dearly, man. So I don't know, man. I want to see that get better. Isaiah Stewart, I thought his hands were full tonight. The stats don't blow you away, but the impact I thought was there, especially when they tried to make that comeback late in the fourth quarter. Isaiah Stewart, though, 6 points, 2 of 5 from the field. Oh, man. No blocks for Isaiah. Actually, 5 blocks. I'm sorry. I meant to say 5 blocks for Isaiah Stewart. That's why I was like, the impact and everything he's doing, he continues to prove that he's one of the best in the league, if not the best defensive big at blocking shots, man. So shout out to Stu. Jalen Duren, 12 points, 5 rebounds for him before he went out of the game. He only played 18 minutes tonight. So that's another big thing. I'm really hoping that the ankle injury for Duren is just ankle sprain, maybe miss a game at most, and he's back. I just based on just seeing him walk out, I'm hoping he don't miss no games. He looked okay, but he had like a little bit of a limp. Cade Cunningham, 40 minutes, 31 points, 6 of 16 from the field, 2 of 6 from beyond the arc. And this you love to see. 17 of 18 from the free throw line. It's a struggle. It's a struggle fest getting Cade Cunningham free throws, man. So to see Cade go out there and actually, I thought he played a brand of basketball that was still ethical hoops, but it allowed him to be able to take advantage of the contact that he always receives. I was seeing as the defenders, the Miami Heat defenders, they were pressing up close to him. He understood how to counter that and when to pull up. to be able to make sure that contact was going to be a foul call. And that I think that maturation in Cade's game is going to be what takes him up so many more notches. He's already doing better with the free throws. He's already doing better as it relates to consistent scoring, fourth quarter scoring, and such. But you're talking about going out there now, Cade, getting to the free throw line. That's going to take things to a whole nother level for him and his team. But also with Cade, you look at the 7 turnovers tonight, and you got to say that those turnovers are something that just absolutely kicked the Pistons right between the legs, especially down the stretch when they're coming back. I know people are pissed at Asar Thompson right now overall, and I know that pass at the end of the game does not help. Usually they have Cade Cunningham taking the ball out, but this year, more than I can remember, they've actually had other players taking the ball out. Maybe in that instance, Cade would have been the guy, but that's what we do, right? The second guessing. So, won't play that game. Not right now, man. Let me check this chat one more time. I ain't said it. Says Kool-Aid, thank you for giving us Pistons content with the $2 super chat. No, I appreciate you guys for being here. Like we said earlier, this has been a day for me, man. I don't know if y'all can tell my voice is hanging on by a thread. It's been a week. Content day and night, and it's what Woodward Sports provides. It's a dream come true. I used to sit in these seats maybe, or at the Palace of Auburn Hills, maybe the top of the lower rung, but it was generally up in the nosebleed, and I was happy to be there, man. I took in every game, and so to know you fast forward to this time, I've been in media for 20 years, but it's been radio, it's been other things, it's been music. Come back home, and this opportunity opens up. You have no choice but to go out there and try and run through every single brick wall. And I know what our fans are, man, because, I'm you guys. I am you guys. So try to be here to represent for you all and bring you guys the best coverage possible, man, across the whole gamut of what Woodward Sports is. And, hey, you know what? How about another look at the court for you guys? Beautiful court, too, man. Like, these city jerseys that they got, man, are just, I think that they're absolutely awesome. So shout out to the Pistons on that. I thought they did good, but, I ain't say that, and everybody else in the chat who's here right now. If you haven't got the opportunity to, go ahead and smash that like button. And Happy New Year to you guys, man. Happy holidays, man. Thanks for supporting and being here. This was not a good New Year's Day for either the Red Wings or the Detroit Pistons, the LCA tenants. Both of them dropped some close ones. The Red Wings, I believe, losing overtime 4-3 to Pittsburgh Penguins, and the Detroit Pistons, they lose to the Miami Heat 116-112, man. Or 118-112. Just a 6-point loss after being down by as many as 20. They do show a lot of resilience and a lot of heart. And that person that you can kind of attribute that comeback to, along with Cade Cunningham, is Marcus Sasser, man. And Sass, this is a guy that I know a lot of people believed in. I remember when he made his season debut here at LCA some weeks back. And I was wondering, how clued in is this LCA crowd? And everybody gave that man an applause, man. Everybody. So, shout out to them. He came at the end of the game, too. Maybe like a minute or two left in the game. And it's just like, it was like a win. The Pistons fans were understanding, hey, this is sad. It's getting going. Since then, it's been some minute restrictions. It's been out of the lineup, in the lineup, and things of that nature. And so to see him have these back-to-back good games, more than just for us, for himself, that's a confidence booster, man. So Marcus Sasser, continue to do your thing, brother. 24 minutes, 18 points, 6 of 10 from the floor, 4 of 6 from three-point range, man. 4 rebounds, 2 assists for Marcus Sasser. Just 2 turnovers, but he had 2 steals, too, so he took those right back. Marcus Sasser. And I get it, man, because we've seen Dennis Jenkins have some games, and we've seen other players have games. But Marcus Sasser is somebody who's been a little bit more seasoned. Marcus Sasser is a guy who we've seen go out there and have these types of stretches in the NBA over multiple seasons. So this is something I'm excited about because I thought that this was going to be a big year for him, who's also coming up on a contract year, for Marcus Sasser. And I think that he's looking poised, looking under control. He's looking like a guy who, like, the moments don't look too big for him at all. And I got the privilege to cover Marcus Sasser, Dennis Jenkins, and others down at NBA Vegas Summer League the last 2, 3, 4 years. I remember his first Summer League, man. He was like, man, I'm just trying to learn everything. I'm trying to get it. Because, he was one of the older players on the team. I was like, how do you feel as one of the older players on the team, but you're basically a rookie now in the NBA? And he said, look, even though I feel like I've experienced, I'm, got a little bit more maturity, NBA game is something different. I got to learn. That's what a lot of these young players are saying. Like, I want to learn. Not just come here and just, let me just hoop. I'm just the guy. Because I think that's how you see a lot of these guys fall off. I do. I mean, you look at your KPJs, you look at your Cam Whitmores, and people are waiting to see what the book is going to be about Jalen Green. Instead, I heard our Pistons players during the dark years talk about we need to learn, we need to get better, we need to this, we need to that. And now you're seeing the fruits of those labors and young players developing, which you got to tip the cap to JB Bickerstaff and his staff, because Dennis Jenkins, Marcus Sasser, Jalen Duran making that leap. These are things that you got to be able to say, you know what, let's rock. And that's why I want to be a little bit more patient with Asar Thompson as well, and some of the woes that people are seeing. This is the first season like that he's able to go out there and be healthy and do his thing. So, but it wasn't the best of games, y'all. I got to level with you. It wasn't the best night from Asar Thompson. 12 points in 30 minutes, 5 of 8 from the floor, 2 assists, 2 rebounds for him, 2 turnovers. One of those turnovers, a crucial one in the clutch. The Pistons had closed things down to about 4 and had an opportunity. If they can get the ball in to either close it to 1 or at least close it to 2, play good defense, and you see what happens there. But instead, turns the ball over, man, in the inbound play. And, the 5-second play was coming. It looked like the play was designed to get it to Cade. Coach Spo, almost like this thing was chess, understood what it was and ran the double team at Cade. And nobody else really could get open. Sarge just threw it in, and that was kind of the game. That's how that thing went. But as this season goes on, I'm looking at who Asar Thompson is going to be post All-Star break. That's what I'm looking forward to. I think that he's played a lot of roles, and his job right now is to just assimilate into the team. That sometimes will take him out of rhythm. When we saw him play point guard last year, I forget if it was against the Hawks, I believe, and Cade Cunningham was a late scratch. We saw a guy that was like thorough. We saw a guy that was direct. We saw a guy that was sure about himself. Now you're talking about a guy who Asar's whole life, he's been the usage guy. He's been the one to handle the rock. Everybody's talked about how Amin Thompson was the finisher, was the one catching the lobs and all that. If you go back and you look at the overtime elite type tapes and everything, Asar's always played more like a usage guy, more like a point guard. So you want to be able to get the best out of him even when he's not in that role, obviously, because you got a Cade Cunningham here, and you got the athleticism that you can utilize of Asar. What I'm hoping they do is they do that. More rim runs for him, backdoor cuts for him, actions that get him free in the lane, and then tell him to strike quick. Like I don't want Asar Thompson catching the ball in the middle lane and then looking and trying to pump it. Catch the ball and just go up, and then make that a part of the practice routine. Because there are not too many people who stopping him from cutting into the lane. We've seen this already, but it's about the development as it relates to how he finishes and the polish on that offensive game. I'm not sitting here saying he has to go out there and put like Michael Jordan level skill set together on offense. What I'm saying is he has enough game right now. It's just not that polished. I think that comes with a certain aspect of repetition and understanding what your role is going to be, or even if they have to go out there and script a few plays for him so he understands exactly what's going to happen, where it's going to be, how he's going to get it, and then go out there and operate and work. I keep trying to play this fine line of, okay, these guys are still young too, but, you guys just make the playoffs, Pistons. You number 1 seed right now. People out here talking about Asar Thompson is one of the best defensive players in the league. And I'm one of those guys saying that and believing that. So it's a little bit different level of scrutiny and criticism that obviously comes with that, man. I told y'all that for years. Like, early on, it's like, yo, we want to believe in this squad. We want to believe in this team. They're just drafting players. So the criticism is different. Now it's like, no, it's big boy pants on now. You're at the big boy table now. So it's like, I get it, man. I'll level with that. And Aaron in the chat says, Weaver built this team. Never forget. Minton May, Sasser is a walking bucket. Shout out to Troy Weaver. You know what's interesting about the Troy Weaver one, man? I was actually in that press conference, the pre-draft, trade deadline, or the pre-draft press conference. That's what it was. And I was kind of studying things about Weaver, not just from his time here, but also his time elsewhere. Talked to some scouts, walked into that press conference, like, hey, look, Troy, I've noticed you generally like to trade back to the first round. And I know the profile of players, some older players, guards this year are going to be very, very premium. Is that something that you might be looking to do? And he looked around and he was just like, wait, bro, do you got my office bugged or something? So when I saw Marcus Sasser, and I got that video, man, we're going to get that video and the audio. We're going to have to start playing some of this stuff because it's been a cool 5-year journey seeing this thing get to this place for the Pistons, get to this point. But for it to be Marcus Sasser, and to see the consistency, you guys got to understand something real quick, man. This young team didn't just have everything work out for them. Orlando Magic did. The Atlanta Hawks did. They had their young players. The Rockets did. And when you look at Orlando, you look at the Hawks, those are two teams who I told you guys a few years ago. Look out for them to continue to be on the all dysfunction list. Continue. What are people I told you every year for the last 4 years? Like me and Rod have told y'all. Shout out to Rod Beers down in Atlanta now at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution covering this team. I told y'all, old boy is going to be a trade candidate every year. And now what do you see in the news again? Trae Young being a trade candidate every single year. Mind you, they got off the ground running faster, and I thought that our guys were talented enough for that. But when it didn't happen and then you hit historic lows, think about that. Most guys, whether they quit or not, they might change the perspective on who they are and what they are. McKay said that they never stop believing. Stu said they never stop believing in who they are. And then when they said you mix in the coaching and the tutelage of JB, the one voice of Trajan Langdon, and the vets that they got, especially Tobias Harris last year, it made everything come together like that. And they were able to hit the ground running. And so, you know what? I appreciate the fact that this team has been able to stick through injuries. These young players have been able to stick through some of the worst coaches, the worst coach ever. Multiple coaches. Some of these guys have had 3 or 4 coaches. Yeah, I think Stu might be on coach number 4 in his tenure here at the Pistons. He might be. I think maybe he was with Dwayne Casey that last year too. I think he had 3 coaches. So it might have been Dwayne Casey for 2 years. And then who after that? The guy who shall not be named. And now you got Mr. JB Bickerstaff. This team has persevered. They've stuck through. And that's why I believe that they have that much more staying power than some of these other teams that were flashing their pans. Orlando's a flash. Not necessarily flashing the pan. They still got some stuff. But the Atlanta Hawks, flashing the pan too. They're trying to start over on the fly. They got some good young pieces to work with. Jalen Johnson, Dyson Daniels, among others. But come on. These teams have gotten passed by the Detroit Pistons. Point blank, period. Now, let me check out this chat real quick before I go back to the box score, and I'll wrap this thing up a little early on this New Year's Day. Got to get into Woodward tomorrow. We get the Brendan Edwards show 2 to 4. If y'all don't know, I do TD that show, the producer on that show, with Brendan Edwards, Matt Shepard, my guy Cam, and myself. Grateful, man, to still be involved. And I'm grateful to everybody that still supports, man. But let me get into this chat real quick. I wish it was coming up on my screen. Don't know what's going on with it tonight, so I apologize to you guys. But Simo says JB needs to get the rotation right, and we need to make one move for a shooting guard or a stretch four. He thinks Booker or marketing. You know what? I don't think you can go wrong with either one of them. When I see these scoring drops, is when you just know, like my guy Jeff be saying that marketing could be the answer. It's just, will he be attacked on defense? Will he get your team in the penalty effectively early? Will he get fouled out of the games? What happens when they allow the physicality in the playoffs? Will he still be that guy? And but he's such an elite scorer that it just makes me think, you know what? Maybe you just roll the dice and you deal with it. Now, do you roll the dice and deal with it? If you're making a deal with Danny Ainge, who's going to go out there and fleece you and take your house, I don't know. That's where when I'm looking at like MPJ, some people believe he might be the budget pick, a Trey Murphy. That's who I want. You get me Murph here, I'm all good with Gucci. Now, in terms of that swing big, I'm never going to say not to swing big. But it may also change a whole lot about the identity of this team. So you have to ask yourself if you're willing. If you go after Lauri Markkanen or Devin Booker, if that was even somewhat a possibility, are you willing to go out there and gut your team and the future capital assets? And the reason why I say this is not that I expect the Pistons to be drafted during this time, but we've seen Trajan in this front office be so savvy that I think that those first-round picks can get them a little bit more than just give away 3 or 4 first-round picks in a deal for Lauri Markkanen. That's just me, man, but I could be wrong. But let me see if there's anything else in here before I move on. Mint May, much love, Kool-Aid. Appreciate all you do, man. I appreciate you guys. Definitely appreciate you guys. Sean says, yep, they need a budget pick. I think so too, man. I think that they need somebody that can come in and not wreck things, but really assimilate to what they have right now. And when you talk about the core of a good defensive team, this is where I want to be able to see them be able to keep as much as possible. Now, you talk about the rotations, because I got to put the other half of that. My hunch is that these rotations are deep because of a theory that Rob Beard and I have said on what we're Pistons for years. You want your players to be assets both on your roster as well as when other teams are looking at your roster. So while they're playing, you want them to be good. Now, if you get into the trade deadline, how do you give yourself the best possible chance to go into the trade deadline and make a deal to improve your team, even if it's a budget one, if you don't have the assets? The Pistons, you tell me this before the season, did you think Dennis Jenkins was a potential trade chip or trade asset? No, you wouldn't have told me that. But now all of a sudden we see, whoa, they've turned him into something. He's something that people, oh, Dennis Jenkins? Oh, let me think about that. Javonte Green, Paul Reed, you've seen these guys come in, and as soon as they come in, they're productive. So I do believe that part of of having a deep rotation is you know that you're going to get the hustle, you know that you're going to get the defense, like them going all out more consistently in that type of a play than if it was a shortened rotation, you got guys getting tired. But then two, I do believe this. I think that they got to make sure they not just see what they have, but that they're showing other people what they have too. Because if they can go out there and pull off some Dennis Schroeder type trade deadline stuff, I'm telling you, they only need to really make that. They only really need, in my opinion, like maybe one, maybe two budget picks. And I think that this team is solidly the best team in the East. Solidly. Is that gonna put them on par with OKC? Not quite. Not quite. But in terms of what this team can be here in this East, and you haven't gutted anything, I think that is so crucial. Is there scenarios where you gut the team to be able to make this make a big improvement? Sure. But I don't think that they're at that stage right now, man. Y'all let me know if I'm crazy or not. But Mitten Maid says, LOL, Uber Unc and Karis to the airport. C Money, Tobias, and Ivy should be on the block, no doubt. And Aaron, I'm just saying, we aren't getting MPJ for nothing. We need to include expiring young players and picked. Yeah, it's not gonna be for nothing, but it will be a lot cheaper than the other players. And that's just, and I know Trey Murphy, I don't think that his return is gonna be that large either. So Trey Murphy, MPJ, that's what I'm looking at personally, for probably slightly above budget picks, but compared to some of the big swings, I think those are budget picks a lot of people will live with. And when you look at it tonight, that's where an MPJ looks a little bit better. I am so serious. Anything people talking about the defense or this or that, they got their system in place, and they can go out there and keep the large majority of those players that play that defense on the team, even if they have to make a trade. Man, look, they'll be okay. Let me show the court to y'all real quick before we get to the rest of this box score and close up. We got the staff out here getting everything locked down. And like I said, man, this is a nice little stretch for Detroit Pistons. You know, two-stepper right now with go down to Cleveland, our neighbors to the south, about 3 hours, and then they come right back and they play the New York Knicks on Monday. Simo, Zion, and Duran wouldn't fit, so you'd have to choose one. Aaron and Murphy is number 2 for me behind MPJ. Both are great, but MPJ is my guy for sure. And one of the reasons why I'm looking at Murphy, I hope the injuries are behind MPJ. That's the thing for me, especially when you look at the fact that we have a couple guys in Duran and Isaiah Stewart, vital pieces for this team, who could miss games at any point in time due to like the ankle and the foot injuries they've had. Stu missed all of the playoffs last year, and that's one thing that scares me about MPJ is if some type of like back issue or injury pops up, now all of a sudden we're missing somebody who's going to be playing vital important minutes for us. So. Jeez, man, let me go here. And you guys, hey, before we wrap up, let me know what you guys want to see this Pistons team do over the next couple games and what you think they're going to do against the Cavaliers as well as against the Knicks. Are they going 2-0 in the next 2 games? It's going to be interesting to see. But let's go through here. Ron Holland, 2 points, 1 to 7 from the field, 5 rebounds, still trying hard. But as the defense is allowing, as the NBA is allowing a little bit more physicality on defense, I do believe it's affecting these young players, and they're going to have to learn how to adjust on the fly. Javonte Green, 26 minutes, 11 points, 4 or 7 from the floor, 1 to 2 from beyond the arc, and a crazy big dunk over Ware. Late nights, man. Let me see here. NJ and Ivy, 2 points, 21 minutes. So they got him up over that 20-minute mark, up over that 15-minute restriction that he had before. And just not the best night. And that's where I get people's frustrations when you're looking at Asar, when you're looking at Jaden Ivey, and you're looking at number 1 seed, you're looking at the expectations and the fact that you don't want this squad, like the Lions or the Tigers, to not go and capitalize on what you've done in the past. That I get. So then you get these names that pop up and people who are just like, you know what? Are these guys contributing right now? Are these guys putting the the Pistons in position to capitalize on being what? Number one seed and have an opportunity to represent the Eastern Conference in the NBA championship. Because for me and y'all, let me know what your expectations are. I expect the Pistons to be in the Eastern Conference championship. Period. I expect them to be there. Their defense, the way they share the ball, their physicality, they're ready made for the playoffs. They're a deep team, so if you tighten up that roster, you're gonna probably get a little bit more potent out of your top guys. And if you expand that roster, then you're gonna get that hustle that you need all game, so you're not looking gas, especially in the beginning and in the end of playoff series, man. So let me check this chart one more time before we close this thing up, man. It's been a day. It's definitely been a day, man. Shout out to everybody that tapped into the New Year stream I did earlier. We did earlier with Broder and Justin, and we had all the hosts call in, man. Shout out to Anson for organizing that and everything. It was a pretty dope event. And all you guys who are here, definitely go ahead and smash that like button, man. I know it would have been better if it was a win tonight. But we live for the Pistons. Win, lose, draw. We here for the Pistons. Let's see here. Murphy is the fit. This is from King. King Yehuda in the chat says Murphy is the fit for the Pistons. I don't want MPJ. He don't want MPJ on this team. He might have used the word zest in there. Says I think he would be an issue. That's an interesting one, man. I wonder what other people are gonna think, man. From a purely just basketball playing standpoint, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what the Pistons do to have some help here, man. Like no matter if it's Trey Murphy, if it's MPJ, or if they wind up going out there and taking a big swing, but the reports are via Jay Fisher, the Pistons have actually been interested and in contact with on as it relates to MPJ. So I don't know, man. That's the thing there. I do trust Trajan Langdon in his front office. They got one of the smartest front offices. They understand the CBA, they understand the apron, they understand the second apron. Like they understand all of this stuff. And so the one thing after we've seen them operate and after see them pivot and operate some more, you know, I trust what they're going to do. I really do. You look at last year, they brought in Tim Hardaway, they brought in Malik Beasley. We knew Tobias Harris was on the way, but then they go and they trade for Dennis Schroeder. They know what they're doing. Then all of a sudden, that offseason the next year gets completely messed up. Can't bring back Malik Beasley. You were going to give him the bread, so that changes things with people like Tim Hardaway, who still loves the Pistons, who preaches really, really good about the Pistons across the league. It's a big part of the reason why Karis LeVert was here. And then, Dennis Schroeder gets starter money with Sacramento Kings, who have already benched him. Like, dang, man, I thought for sure, bring Schroeder back. So for them to be able to go in and pivot and bring in Duncan Robinson, Karis LeVert, who I thought at the time were some decent, and Javante Green, who I thought were some decent picks. And you see this team still responding, still winning, still improving, still getting better. That's fine. That's why I'm like, you know what? No matter what this team does, they're going to be okay. They're in really good hands. And that's what Tom Gore's promised. He said that was the purpose of this hire of Trajan Langdon, was to make sure that this was a one vision, one voice led operation. So, all right, man. I think I see Mitt May. He says, shout out Malik Beasley. We miss you. We definitely miss you. Aaron says MPJ is ultra efficient and high scoring, a perfect fit. Let's see here. Any more? Wes Weaver. Yeah, don't want to burn Kate out. They need another guy who can score 25. I agree 100% with that, man. I do. This is something we've called for a while. And sometimes you want to be able to say, you know what, but we want to trust the process because they're winning right now. I did that with my gut with the Detroit Lions. I said, look, Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell, and Cole, they're winning. So even though certain things don't look right to my limited football knowledge self, you know what? You trust the process. Do they need more edge help? Do you want to see them bolster the defensive backs with actual free agents that ball like they did with Carlton Davis? Do you want to see them go out there and make sure that offensive line stays amazing? Like, these are the things that I wanted to see them do. They didn't necessarily attack that. And when they had the chance at the trade deadline, they didn't attack that. And I said, look, guys, I guess, on the Brighton show, look, I guess we just trust them because he's Brad Holmes looking for success. But how did that turn out? And so now with the Pistons, I'm sitting here like, okay, they're first place. But how can it turn out? The Tigers were first place. And how did that turn out? They went and made marginal moves at the trade deadline. They did not bolster based on a level of expectation that they created for themselves. And that to me is where I'm like, you know what? No, us as fans, let's hold the Pistons to that standard. They want to be held to that standard. Why should they have to say, you know what? No, we need to learn how to win some more and play some more and get back here next season, and then we'll have an opportunity to maybe advance. I'll skip that, man. Skip that. You're already at the top of this thing, man. Get this thing done. And I do believe, getting K some scoring help in here will be huge. 313 says Pistons are not ready yet. Right now, I have to agree with you on that. I have to. I place the expectation that get to the Eastern Conference Championship and give yourself a great opportunity to represent the East in it. But there's certain stretches where they show like discipline issues, playing sloppy, energy's not there, the hustle's not all the way there. When Hey, have a good night, boss. Have a good night, man. Hey, shout out to the team here, dog. Shout out to the team. Shout out to the team. And these are my people out here, man. It's cool. And a lot of people from the city, they work right here. They work right here at LCA, man. So shout out to them being able to live in and work in the city. And they do a good job here, man. The people here are nice. Always talk, always greet. So I'll try to make sure I show them some love whenever we can. But man, you know what? But back to that statement, it hurts to have to even admit that they're not ready yet. But I think it's a good thing to be able to see that this early in the season while you're still in first place. Because you've given yourself the margins. You don't want to cost yourself those margins. But at least as you falter and you have mistakes like they did tonight against the Miami Heat in this 118, 112 loss, you're able to be able to diagnose that with the feeling of, though, but we're still a good team. We're still, we still got it going on. And, so ultimately, I do believe the Pistons bounce back from this. I'm calling already, boy. Go out there and smack the Knicks on Monday, man. Smack the Knicks on Monday, but first you got to take care of business against the Cleveland Cavaliers on Sunday at 2 o'clock. I'm actually contemplating if I'm gonna get down to that game or not, man. I'm gonna get some rest after the Brothers show tomorrow. Got Sabbath Friday night to Saturday night sunset, and then might think about just driving out to Cleveland and getting that game in as well. So shout out to you, good people. If you haven't got an opportunity to go ahead and smash that like button to help us. Just gonna look in the chat here and see if there's anything else that I missed. Shout out again. I ain't say that for the $2 super chat earlier. It says Kool-Aid, thank you for giving us Pistons content. Now I appreciate you guys, man. Aaron says it's a tough stretch. We need to get that Cavs one next. Everybody saying, yo, what's going on with Asar? You know what? I might do a Woodward Pistons stream tomorrow with or Sunday, either day with Sean Murphy. We're gonna talk about this Asar Thompson stuff, man. Because he doesn't look as comfortable as he did during certain stretches of the season last year. Even though his stats are looking a little bit better, he just doesn't look as comfortable. I think the pace is helping him. I think that the overall better play of the team is assisting him in having those higher stats. But in terms of the consistency that you want to see, we have too many feast or famine players on this squad. And the one thing that we used to know is that when Asar's offense wasn't there, that at least his defense wasn't going to fail. Problem is, people are having a little bit of issue with the fact that his defense hasn't been as stout, at least over like the last week or two, as it has been and as we've come to know it to be. So I do think he's going to bounce back. I think that these are long seasons. I believe these are situations where you got people who are, on any given night, can just have an off night. So we're going to diagnose it and break it down, man, and talk about it, though. But I want to know what you guys think about Asar Thompson, too. So hit me up in the chat. Hit me up in the comment section, actually. The comment section of this video. Not this live chat, but the comment section. Go to there. Put some comments in about Asar Thompson, man, because I want to check this thing out. Because I got to level with y'all on some things. In the past, it wasn't about drinking the Kool-Aid with the squad by being positive. It's the fact that they were a young, new team. Right now, it's a team of expectations, man. That's a completely different level of criticism. Now it's like we can get into the breakdown of it all. Why? Because each and every single game matters for the Detroit Pistons now. So, all right, man. Let me see. Anthony Davis or Bam will put this team over the top, plus an effective clutch three-point shooters from 3-3 Thug Life. Mitten says, we ready. I guess he was responding to Still I Rise, who said we ain't ready. But appreciate you guys. About to go get some shut eye right now, man. It's been dope, man. It's been dope. This season has been one that's felt like a dream. Covered the first 3 seasons where it was meh basketball for these Pistons, and now over the last 2 seasons now, this one and last year, you got a playoff team, you got a superstar, and you got another ascending all-star now. That's a good way to start off the year, even if they did drop the game today, man. But get that get right, get that get back, man. Detroit Pistons, like I said, they have the Cavaliers, then they have the Knicks coming up, and I should have Platte and the rest of the team on for the next show. Sunday, we may bring you guys as well a watch party for that game against the Cavaliers, but we'll definitely keep you all posted, man. But it's your boy Brandon Dan, K Detroit Kool-Aid, your credential history reporter and writer for the network. Thank you guys for tapping in, and make sure you go ahead and smash that like button if you didn't get the opportunity to. Check out some of the other content on Woodward Sports Network. Smash the subscribe button, man. We are less than 600 followers away from 100,000, and you guys have a big part in that. So thank you guys for being here. I guess I'll show you guys the court one more again before we get out of here. If you can see that beautiful teal. I know some people, the reactions are always mixed on the teal. Look, I like the teal. I did think that they were trying to be more like the Hornets. I know Shep shared that, but I thought the teal was fire, man. And I like the way they incorporated it into these new jerseys all black rather than letting teal be the dominating color. So, hey, you know what? That's been a stream for tonight. The Pistons, again, they dropped 118-112 to the Miami Heat. But overall, I feel encouraged about the Detroit Pistons. Still 25-9 on the season, first place in the East with a couple big showdowns, a couple big Titans. Y'all be blessed in this new year, man. I hope that everything that you guys want to happen from a success standpoint, from a spirituality standpoint, from a relationship standpoint, any standpoint, sports, I'm hoping that your shot goes in, man. That's right.